moving on, let's finish off with this. I think this is the most interesting other topic, and I know that people get annoyed with this man, and I understand why. But Bob Loukas, he of the Bitcoin 4-year cycles, he talks a lot about 4-year cycles with Bitcoin, and I always make this. I always proceed in my comments about Bob Loukas with this. Yes, I understand he's trolled HEX in the past and stuff like that. I don't think he really gives a shit about it. It's just, engagement farming and stuff like that. What I do, and what I would encourage anybody else to do, is take the good from the people. Everybody has some good stuff and some bad stuff. Just take the good stuff from everybody you can, or for lack of a better term, like the stuff that at least resonates with you. Okay. Bob Loukas is just a long-term swing trader that I do believe understands the Bitcoin 4-year cycle, and I take that from him. I don't take from him, shitting on Richard Hart and shitting on HEX. I don't think he understands the greater scope of crypto, and that's fine. But I do think, as far as his charting and this stuff, I think is good. So he put out a new 45-minute video about the 4-year cycle, and I was really intrigued to watch this one because with all the talk that we've had recently, Ewok, of is this a left translated cycle? Bitcoin way higher than we've ever thought it would be by now. Blah 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 blah. He does these videos, Bob Loukas, bi-monthly or monthly. And at this point believes there's about a 60% chance of the left translated cycle scenario, where basically what would happen is, okay, we saw this kind of big rise for Bitcoin already in 2024, and that would then lead to maybe later into the fall, he believes much higher top, but early in this year, not spring or fall of 2025, which would be a normal cycle that we're all accustomed to. That would be the normal lineup, is that we see a new Bitcoin all-time high, mid to late 2025, or I should say the top of the bull market. He's noted how strong the market is now with major players entering and the ETF, which, hey, even Richard Hart has talked a lot about too. And Richard now betting pretty much on an Ethereum ETF. But Loukas says the left translated cycle would call for a huge blow off later this year, and then things get pretty brutal starting mid to late 2025. So basically front running by, give or take 6-8 months or something like that from what a normal cycle would be. Because in the normal cycle, we would be thinking, if it was anything like last time, late 2021, November is when we had the new Bitcoin all-time high, and alts ran higher than they ever had. And then, a month later, actually, really, it was November, and then December things started to pull back, and then it got really brutal to start 2022. So yeah, you could see we'd have a big all-time high later this year, start crashing sometime in 25. And I kind of think it's interesting that Loukas only put a 60% chance on Bitcoin smashing because on the left translated cycle, I should say, because Bitcoin has smashed expectations so much so far this year. So to me, he's pretty much still 50-50, even with this bullish action. So I appreciate that, Footsteps. But yeah, what do you make of that, Ewok? Yeah, just the chances of the left translated cycle. I mean, I again, it's that appeal to authority thing, and I'm not going to say hey, Bob Loukas said this. This is what I got to do now. He's throwing a dart, but he's,
sure.
He basically said, 50-50 left translated. Or, so at the end of the day, what's he really?
So he's not putting anything on the line by saying it,
not necessarily, but that's why that last interesting point I made was I am surprised he just said 60% chance when it's been so juicy so far. So to me, that actually, I think, means he still feels fairly likely about the regular cycle because it's looked so good so far. So.
Well, yeah, it looks good. But again, it's completely different this time. It's got we've got the ETF. We've got a lot of big people buying. There's a lot of big people selling though too. I mean, you got BlackRock now invested heavily, but you've got MicroStrategy. Did you see they're buying Ethereum the other day?
I didn't see that. No, I did not see that.
Yeah, they're starting to buy Ethereum. So again, I think it's going to be a regular cycle until it's not a regular cycle. We've got to see something that leads us different. And to me, other than seeing an early top, which I think was all caused by the ETF, that's the only thing that's really changed. I don't see it. I just don't see the left translated cycle happening. I see it playing out as normal into 2025. Until we don't see it, then we have like, oh, okay, well, now it could be different. I think a lot of people say this stuff just to say, well, I was right. I called it. But they don't really have anything to go on. I mean,
Right.
it's just like you said, it's like throwing a dart and maybe it hits. Yeah, we got 50% chance of it. Well, we don't really have 50% chance. It's probably more like 80-20 because we've never seen it before. And until it changes, it's going to stay the same. So that's just my opinion. Like I said, I think a lot of these guys say a lot of things for just the chance that it
Don't
does
criticize
happen.
Bob Lucas.
I don't
Don't
like him.
criticize.
I'll flat out say it. I don't like him. I'm not a fan of people that do that stuff for the engagement bait.
Yeah,
And
I get it,
hey,
but
like
you
I
got to
understand, I
be able.
respect him. I respect his opinions. I respect his economic whatever, his his education in the whole atmosphere here. But
I
I
think
just
he can read cycles. I mean, I do
yeah,
think
sure.
he can do that, and I respect his ability to do that. But I
Sure.
don't know that I would share a beverage with the guy.
Well, yeah,
So
I have nothing in common with him. I don't really care for, like I said, anybody that pulls the engagement bait, I'm not a fan of.
yeah, I understand. It does lead you to be a little bit skeptical of them
yeah,
when they
very
do
much
that. It's
so.
like, what are you doing?
What
You know?
else are you doing? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It just you do one shady thing and it casts a lot of doubt in my mind. So yeah.
yeah.
Anyway, I'm not a fan of the guy. I don't agree with the left translated thing, and that's my take. So
Good comment here from John J UK. Yeah, we need to get a league table. I'll tell you right now, John J. I would currently be Liverpool. Is all I'm going to say. Last I checked, they're leading the EPL, I believe. So, and how about that? If you are in the UK, which I imagine you are, I would like your thoughts on the EPL right now because I just saw the other day. I looked at the table the other day, and man, Liverpool, Man City, and Arsenal all very tight. And usually Arsenal's kind of a joke, but it's interesting they're doing so well this year. But yeah, all things said, I mean, like I will take what Bobby Lucas can offer and take the good stuff, but I am with you that like, hey, the left translated has never happened before, and the left translated starting to become like a lot of people are starting to expect it now, like because Bitcoin just did this, which has been amazing. You know, I mean, it's been crazy that Bitcoin's been able to do this. Many people are getting baited into that now.
yep,
So
all the
if there
more
was
reason it's not going to.
yeah, if there were ever a time where you would start to like oh yeah, everybody's kind of coalescing on this idea, um, it'd be great. And we're seeing it right now. If this pullback we're seeing right now continues, Bitcoin at 65K right now, that's good. This is when we
Mhm.
want to see this correction right now.
Yep,
We want to see, we want to see it come down further, and ideally ETH and alt start to come up, bring Bitcoin down into the 50Ks, probably even into the high 40Ks again or something like that, and let's get back on a normal pace.
yep.
You know, I think that's what we really would want. So. I thought it was good food for thought anyway to kind of go over what he saw. But yeah, I mean, the more people that are looking at left translated, the less likely it will be. I agree with you there. So there you go,
He's
Liverpool
a
supporter. Yeah,
Liverpool supporter there for you.
as a guy in the States, this is going to sound really stupid, but I always liked Leicester City, and I know they've been relegated now. But I just thought their kits were cool. I liked the King Power on their blue jerseys. I thought that was cool. Hex Girl, the recent BTC downturn is more like a regular 4-year cycle. Yeah. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like if this pullback continues right now, you know, it got frothy just too quick. So was it the ETF? That's what a lot of people are pointing to, Richard Hart included. So yeah. What do we got from DJ Moon Boy?
Well, he said this earlier, but he says, I feel like it's an information cycle. Everyone's learned how to read and report on the blockchain, which is good. I, I like the fact that people are getting knowledgeable and learning and taking the time and the energy to read blockchain, to do a little bit of research and see who's doing what. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's better than just a bunch of people on Robinhood investing and thinking that they're going to get rich. No, I'm serious. It's good.
Yeah.
You
No.
know, it's good to build that base. So, you know, each cycle when people get washed out, as long as that base can get a little bit bigger, eventually, you know, things are going to be more normal. You're going to see less huge drawbacks, and we're already seeing it with the bigger coins. You know, you started with Bitcoin, it started at a 95% drawback, then the next cycle it was 80 or, you know, 90%, and then 85, and, you know, now down to 80% drawback. So each time each cycle happens, you're going to get a less of a pullback, more normal of a cycle. And I think that, you know, I think that's good. It just shows the growth.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. And John Jay, continuing on this point, says, "What's your thoughts on BTC running up at the end of the year and everyone shouts left translated, then it shoots up again in 25? Surely all the ETF interest in Mr. Fink's comments will bring money in." I mean, I think if so he's saying if BTC runs up at the end of the year and everyone shouts, I mean, I don't know if they will or not. I mean, I think it would have to. I think we would have to see like crazy run up at the end of the year. And I'm not sure exactly what you mean there, but I think if we get to like obvious, clear, like not just like, oh, triple top like we saw here so far at about 73K. If we saw like 110 or even 100 BTC, that's when it would be like, okay, this may be left translated, because that's kind of too early for that.
Yeah. It's too early, and I think
Yeah,
I think we could possibly see another double top like we saw last cycle,
right.
because now that's a thing, right? So you
Mhm.
kind of either expect it until it doesn't happen again, and that was between what, April and November. So there
Right.
was, you know, quite a 6 months in there that, you know, to make that double top. It didn't last long, but, you know, you could at least expect it.
Yeah, I see what he's saying. Just enough for folks to think it's left translated, and then
Sure.
we get another blowout in 25. I mean, maybe. I think if we get to like a number like 100 this year, I would be confident that that is actually a left translated cycle, because that would be so bullish so soon, that I would want to be taking profits, assuming we ever move. You know, all coins really move hard. That's what I would want to be doing a little bit at that time, if we were that good that early. Anyway, I'm not saying like everything. I'm just saying I would be interested to see where we're at.
So if you're saying if it
But
hits 100K by the end of 2024, you're calling left translated cycle.
yeah, I would say if we got
Really?
that high,
Hmm.
and I
We're
will
almost
say
there.
this, not really. That's 30,000 away
70.
still.
Yeah, well,
Not really. I mean, here's what I would say. I'll just say this. I don't think that scenario is going to happen. Like, I think that's too in between. I think we're either going to get whatever you want to call it, quadruple top or something like that, or like get back into the 70s towards the end of this year, continue on a normal cycle, or we're going to go to like 140 this year, or like way higher than 100K. I don't think it'll just be 100K. That would really be confusing, I think. That
well,
number, but
you realize though that it went from 40K, where was it? Back here, January. So from January to March, 2 months, it made 30,000. It only
mhm.
took 2 months. So,
Okay.
you know, another 30,000 in by the end of the year, which we're, you know, we've got 8 months left. I don't know. I just I could see it hitting 100,000 without being a left translated cycle.
I mean, I guess maybe 100. That's not a number that I would think is likely. I think it would either be less than that as we get ready to really blow off in 25, or it would be a bigger blow off. That's just
Yeah.
kind of too in the middle for me. I guess I didn't really consider that number, I guess, but anyway, lot of scenarios. The main thing is just to be prepared for either one. Like, just be prepared for what may be happening here. And you know, first off, we have to actually like move up ever.
Sure.
So right
I
now,
hear you.
all we need to, all we're doing is still DCAing. So I mean, that's really all we can worry about right now. So